Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to take the scratch out of a Nissan using your standard Touchup paint. Let's get started.
And here's some supplies you'll need.
I've gone ahead and washed the vehicle and make sure there's any kind of dirt and debris out of this little channel right here. It's about 2 or 3 inches, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the first process. So I'm starting with this 1500 sanding grit. I'm going to go ahead and get some water sprayed on there because we're going to be doing a wet sanding process. Pretty straightforward. We're just going to spray some water on here.
I'm wet sanding here so we can level out the surface, which helps the paint flow down into the scratch and gets everything nice and even.
Alright, so now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and wipe and just see what it looks like now. And you'll see this kind of haze up as it dries. That's when we're going to go ahead and apply our paint Touchup. And then today I'm going to be using this Nissan paint pen. If you look into the driver's side door, you'll see a little label where it shows the paint color, and this one it's GAT. And I'm not going to use the brush that comes with this. I'm going to use a more fine tip so that we can get a little bit more precision here, so that when we're going into the scratch we're not overfilling it too much. We want to do lots of light coats.
To make sure that you're getting good coverage, make sure to get in all the cracks and corners to make sure you're getting some good coverage. After this coat, I'm going to let it dry and come back and do a second coat. On a warm day, it should dry pretty quickly, but you can also use a hairdryer to speed up the process.
Okay, so I've gone ahead and done the Touchup paint there, 2 light coats, and then I've started this other piece right here where I had 2 little door chips here and here. Okay, so now that it is dried, you can see that there's a little bit of black in the actual chip, and you see all around here where I've sanded, it's, you know, faded from me sanding, but now we're just going to fill that with clear coat and we should be good to go.
To make this blend better, I've filled up pretty heavily with the clear coat and we're going to sand it down smooth. And here I'm just using that hairdryer method, like I said, to speed up this drying process while I put another layer of clear on there.
Okay, so after 1500 grit and a couple of layers of clear, we're gonna go ahead and get some more sanding grits done. I've been feathering out the sanding up here and up here, and then next is gonna be just more finer grit. Okay, so now we've taken it from 1000 to 1500 to 3000 to 5000. Getting all of this smoothed out, so then we get to the polishing process, it's gonna come out nice and glossy. I can barely see my repairs here, but once we have the shine back, it's just gonna blend in and disappear. Same thing for this guy up here. The scratch is slightly visible, but I think that once we get the polishing done, we'll be looking great. Okay, so now we're going to use my trusty 3D1 cutting and polishing compound. It basically starts aggressive and then finishes off really smooth. I'm using my Maxshine long throw dual action polisher and just a microfiber pad here. Let's go ahead and get it looking new. Okay, we're going to go ahead and shake this up, prime the pad a little bit here, work that in. You could also do this by hand, but I've got the polisher here since I do a lot of detailing, so get that primed. Let's put on just a little bit of dab here. And let's get it on the panel.
I'm not really doing a tutorial on how to use a polisher, but basically you kind of get some product on there, you start at a slow setting, spread out the product, and then you go in kind of a patch pattern left to right and then up and down, just slowly moving it, not putting too much pressure, just trying to work that polish in. You want to stay at a good pace, making sure that, again, the product can break down and actually do its job. Don't put too much pressure. Like I said, the polish should be doing the work, not so much you. And here's the final result. I think I could have used just a little bit more clear coat to fill in the scratch, but overall you really have to kind of dive to look in to see the imperfection. The customer is very happy, and here's my final thoughts.
Alright, so what did I think about this process? This was actually my first time. So what I would have done different is maybe been a little bit less aggressive with some of the wet sanding. I started at 1,000 grit and maybe I needed to do closer to 1,500, because what happened at the end, I think I ended up having to sand too big of an area to kind of blend it. And then typically I use the 3D all-in-one compound finish to kind of get the everything looking nice, all the scratches out. But I actually had to go to just a dedicated compound and hit it a little bit more aggressively with my microfiber pad. So then, I think next time I would probably just do a little bit more of a finer finish. Even with going up to 5,000 sanding grit, it didn't seem to make a difference. So I think that's what I would do for what happened with the customer. And they had the scratch and the chips, and they were completely happy with how it turned out. So I guess at the end of the day, that's all that it matters. So I could have learned, a little bit different techniques, but I think it turned out really good. Let me know, guys, what you think in the comments of how you would have done it differently, or any suggestions of what your setup is and what combinations of pads and polishers and sanding techniques to get scratches and dings out of your car. So curious to hear about that, so put it down in the comments, and appreciate you watching the video. Please like and subscribe. Thanks.